So let's dive into this evocative piece about 15 Agast Ka Din Kehta, where the poet reflects on the bittersweet nature of independence. It's
Right.
all about how, despite the celebrations, freedom still feels unfinished. Absolutely. It's like the poet is saying that our journey for true liberation is still a work in progress, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. The lines, Azadi abhi adhuri hai, sapne sach hone baki hai, really pack a punch, reminding us that the sacrifices, the blood spilled on this land, haven't yet led to complete
Mm-hmm.
fulfillment. And that idea of incomplete freedom really resonates when you think about the continuous struggles that many people face even after independence. It sure does, yeah. The text juxtaposes the pride of freedom with the harsh realities that remain, like the humble lives on Kolkata's streets and the sorrow that still lingers. Yeah, I find it fascinating how it draws attention to everyday people coping with challenges, almost saying that the celebration has a dual narrative, one of triumph and one of ongoing struggle. Exactly. It's like the poet is urging people to remember the immense cost at which freedom came, with lines talking about those whose sacrifices have only partly paved the way for liberty. Yep. And there's also that critique hidden in the lines about how history is remembered, isn't there? Like reflecting on the heroes whose bodies were sacrificed, yet their dreams are still pending fulfillment. Right, right. It almost makes you think, how do we measure freedom? Is it the absence of colonial power, or should it also include the liberation from social and economic chains?
Mm-hmm.
That's a really thought provoking question. The piece seems to hint that true freedom isn't just political, it's also about human dignity and ensuring every person, irrespective of their background, can live without constant sorrow. Absolutely. And then there's that interesting part where the poet brings in nature and geography from the rugged terrains like Garo and even mentions regions like Lahore and
Yeah,
Karachi. It
exactly.
elevates the discussion from just national to a broader regional reflection. Yeah, the inclusion of places beyond our borders kind of shows that our history and our struggles are intertwined with those of our neighbors too. It's as if the poet is saying, hey, look around. The scars and the hopes are all interconnected. Exactly. And then there are those emotional lines that reflect on the past, talking about walking on the graves of martyrs and feeling that persistent shadow of sorrow. Right. I gotta say, though, some might argue that the tone is a bit pessimistic, as if it dampens the celebration of freedom. What do you think about that? That's a fair point. I mean, while it's
Yep.
celebratory in its remembrance, it also critically challenges us to not be complacent. It's like the poet is balancing between pride and a call to ongoing action, emphasizing that our liberation is not fully complete. Yes, it feels like a rallying cry to keep pushing until every dream envisioned at independence is realized. Precisely. And the reference to Ravi Ki Shapat juxtaposed with the present day struggles adds another layer, almost as if to say that a promise made long ago remains unfulfilled even
Mm-hmm.
today. I love that nuance. There's this historical depth, reminding us that the pledges of our forefathers are not just relics of the past, they're living challenges we still confront. Yeah, it's like the poem is a mirror reflecting both pride and underlying despair. For instance, when it mentions how the oppressed still go about their daily lives, it's a stark reminder that material progress sometimes overshadows emotional and social progress. Right. And yet there's hope embedded in it too. The idea that by recognizing these shortcomings, we can work collectively to redefine what freedom truly means for the future. Exactly. It's like the poet is inviting us to, reimagine independence not as a completed chapter, but as a continuing story. Yeah, I find that incredibly inspiring. It pushes one to think, wait, how can I contribute to ensuring that freedom in its fullest sense becomes reality? Absolutely. And then there's an interesting twist in mentioning different regions, like the emphasis on both urban struggles and the pain found in the rural or border areas. It paints a comprehensive picture of a nation still in transition.
Yep.
It does, and it subtly points out that while we might be celebrating in certain parts of the country, others still endure hardship, almost as if the shadows of partition and historical injustice still linger. For sure. And these woven narratives of sacrifice, defiance, and continuing struggle remind us that independence is not just a date in history, it's a living, breathing process. Definitely. It's like the poet is saying, if you think your freedom is complete just because you're here on the 15th, then you're missing the broader picture. Yeah, and that broader picture involves accepting the responsibility to honor those sacrifices, not just by remembrance, but by active, ongoing transformation in society. Right. Totally. It resonates as a call for people to be vigilant to ensure that the values fought for back then continue to guide us today. Exactly. And the line that talks about the streets of Kolkata bearing witness to hardships ties that historical sacrifice to the contemporary struggles of everyday citizens. It's like a continuous thread of resilience, if you will. That image is so vivid. It really makes you visualize that literal and metaphorical landscape of sacrifice where every street corner carries a story. Absolutely. And there's also a critique of commercialism and political rhetoric in the mix. The reference to how some celebrate the idea of freedom with a sort of detached pride while ignoring the deep seated inequalities, well, that really challenges us, doesn't it? Yeah, it does, and I appreciate how it pushes us to confront the hypocrisy that sometimes comes with national celebrations. How do we truly celebrate freedom if many aren't free in every sense of the word? Right, it's a stark reminder that progress must be measured not only in economic indicators, but also in social and moral dimensions. Exactly. And reading this piece, you can't help but feel a mix of pride for how far we've come and a responsibility to address the gaps that remain. Precisely. It's like the poet wants every listener or reader to feel that urgency, urging us to act so that one day maybe we can truly say that freedom is whole. Yes, indeed. There's also a sense of defiance threaded through the lines, a determination that despite the challenges, our march toward a complete, unfragmented freedom is inevitable. Yep, it's like a call to arms, not in a violent sense, but in a spirit of resilience and unity, a reminder to reclaim and complete the dream of independence every day. Right. It really is a beautifully crafted piece. It weaves history, struggle, and hope into a tapestry that challenges us to keep the dream alive. Absolutely. And while some might find its critique a bit heavy handed, I think it's necessary to remind ourselves that freedom isn't a final destination, it's a perpetual pursuit. Exactly. It leaves us with a powerful message that even though we celebrate, we must also reflect, act, and ensure that the legacy of sacrifice continues to guide us towards a truly just and free society.